What's up, everybody? A Sparrow with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on Space Engineers. I feel like my character color got changed somehow. I don't remember being this light shade of blue. Could be wrong. Anyway, totally unrelated. So this episode, we finished off last episode by making a functional and useful, bridge connector thing, which actually works pretty well, I gotta admit. There's not a lot. I wasn't sure about this part if we'd end up dropping, but because of the way the collision boxes work, there's a little bit of a leniency there where you can just kind of walk in and out. So that's really convenient. But I want to... I had mentioned the idea of a capital vessel or kind of finishing the moon base. And while I don't know if we'll end up finishing it, because as you can see, this is a lot of stuff to weld. Though, I suppose if I filled my inventory with steel plates, it might not be that difficult to actually do if I had all the materials to work with. So, before we start working on finishing, air quote, finishing the moon base, I need to start working on the drilling platform-ish thingamabobber. And I say that because it's probably going to end up being more of a ship than a platform, I think, although a platform didn't ever really occur to me until just now. The only reason I don't like a platform idea is because that, to me, implies, like, wheels and things that are guided along rails, which isn't bad, but while you're digging, it needs to be able to free float so that it's not, you know, like actually having to be guided along the rails, because the rails won't be there until you dug the hole further. So it'll probably be a ship, but it hadn't really occurred to me to make it kind of a just platform that could be lowered or something. So I may actually work on that. But to start things off, I had some steel plates that were being made, and I believe in creative mode I'd already figured out sort of where the centers and stuff will be. I think, if I can remember. It was like a couple days ago that I worked on this, but I believe one of the points was right here, and I believe if we bring that out, man alive, it's gonna be a lot of blocks. I did this a little bit differently, in that I kind of, give me that back. I kind of brought it out and then, made sort of, more of probably a hexagon than a circle because it's easier. And then I think in this area, yep, this looks, well, was it this spot? I think it's that right there. I think. Yeah, it's a little deceptive because it's not a straight, like a perfect circle, so it's a little deceptive, but I think it was right here where I came out like 9 blocks from here, because this, 1, 2, let's just count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, this is the spot. So technically, I suppose it should be like this, because 9 and 9 is 18, which essentially I believe would make it divisible by 2. And so this is technically not the perfect center, but I don't really care. So I kind of brought it out this way. Dadgummit. Alright, so that's kind of the starting points, and then I ended up meeting in the middle here, and I made kind of a circle. So let me go ahead and do that real quick, and we'll see where we're at. Alrighty, so I think I've got this part squared away here, as you can see. Well, I hope you guys can see. It's kind of tough to see, actually, with it being all scaffolding and whatnot, but essentially, just for all of you mathematicians out there, I basically just did, out of the 2 center points, I brought them till they met up, and then from that center point, I went 14 blocks out, including this one, but not including the center one, excuse me, so that it totaled 15. And I did that on all 4 directions, and then went out on each side 7 blocks, which basically puts it at like 15 total. And then I started a block on the inside and kind of just alternated, kind of stepped them until they reached the other bar, and then removed some, and then on the outside I put the slopes to hold it, and then remove the squares and replace them with slopes, so I just had a nice kind of curve. Which, like I said, I think it's, what is that, it's either an octagon or a hexagon. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to say an octagon, because I think it's 8 sides, including the corners. Anyway, so the plan here, I think I can do this with the steel plates, I hope. Where's my... I know there they are. I know it's on my hotbar somewhere. Steel plates, cool. So the plan here is to remove that, and now I can't remember. There it is. And then put drills like so. And what I've been doing, you know what? Let's just, for ease of use, let's just put drills right here. Well, is that how that works? Oh, okay, that is the same block. All right. So the plan here is to kind of do like this, and I'm going to keep removing one side and just kind of work my way out, so that nothing gets disconnected, essentially. But that's 3. So I think in my creative world I did a 4x4. I mean a 5x5 like this, if my memory serves. And so that's kind of going to be the platform I'm looking at. Mainly... Are you a drill? You're a drill. Okay. So I can remove that. You should all be drills. Cool. Just... It's hard a bit with the, with the, change in... with everything being scaffolding. It all looks the same. But it should be a full grid. Yep. Alright, cool. So, yeah, I'm going to do a 5x5 like that. I think we might have, actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Alright, cool. So we accidentally already did a 5x5. I thought that was a 4x4, but whatever. So that's going to be kind of the drill platform, I think. And the idea here is to build on top of it so that we can continually expand outward if we want to. So essentially the core of the platform shouldn't change. But then as you do more, you know, like if all of a sudden we're like, well, we've got plenty of resources, then because of the way the conveyors are structured, we can basically just add more rings to the driller and essentially keep going around like that. But originally I was doing more like a ship. It was kind of like, here's a cockpit, here's this, here's that, blah, blah, blah. And the more I think about it, the more I may actually just do a platform, which is like put a conveyor here, bring the conveyor up, run it along here, put a couple storage crates, yada, 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 and actually just make a platform to work with. So I'm going to hop over to creative, I think, because the biggest question here is, because I'm going to be using thrusters, is to make sure that whatever storage we have on board, whatever this ends up being, this platform, whatever storage we have on board has to be able to be lifted by the thrusters. Now, the other thing that I've thought about is, if we're just making this drilling platform, do I need lateral thrusters and or gyroscopes? Because if I put gyroscopes on it, I'll be able to turn and roll the platform, which may misalign it. So I may actually just put vertical and yeah, well, basically both directions vertical is all I'm looking for. And so I'm going to test that out and see what I come up with. Okay, so here's what I've come up with so far. Again, this is a creative world at the moment, so when you look around and go, hey, all this is done, yeah, I'm not being that productive. So as I said before, we're starting with this 5x5 drill grid, essentially, where we can keep expanding as we need to. This ended up being kind of what I came up with, mainly because I tried ion. For the life of me, I can't get it to work with this kind of weight, because I did fill everything up, and anything that could handle cargo, I used the creative to spawn a bunch of stone and just max it out, because if you go all the way down, you want to be able to come all the way back up, right? I mean, that just kind of makes sense. So there's that. Now, the only thing that I just now noticed that might be a problem is I'm not sure what the radius on the drills are. And that connector, I don't even know about this thruster over here, but that connector may actually get snipped on the way down. It might clip the ground, so that could be an issue? I'm not really sure. This part up here is pretty bare bones at the moment. Like I said, the idea to me is to have this part where you would enter and exit and pilot the thing be level with this in here. So essentially, if you walked out here on this platform, came down, because essentially what I'd like to see happen is for these to be gone, and this is just the frame ring that this sits in, essentially. And we may have like a walkway or something until this gets to be a big enough platform that it can't, you know, can't fit in there or something. But for now, I'll have to have some kind of walkway out to it, unless I just wanted to jetpack it. But it'll have to be connected in some way, so there's probably going to be conveyors running under, like, here to reach this connector. So I'm not really too worried about a access point. But anyway, the point is that it'll be connecting up to the main base through this ring area type thing. So we'll need some kind of walkway out to here. But yeah, I tried to do ion, and it was fine when this wasn't full, but if I filled up this large container, there's also a hydrogen tank which wasn't there previously because I didn't need the hydrogen, and it couldn't handle it. I put 12 or no, I think I actually had 16 ion thrusters all pointed down, and it didn't work. It wouldn't actually work. So this, I ended up going with hydrogen, and originally I started with just one thruster underneath the conveyor, and again, when it was fully loaded, it wouldn't lift off, so I added 3 on each side, totaling 12. And then I had to add lateral thrusts as well, because for some reason, I'm not entirely sure why, because there aren't any gyroscopes on the ship, but for some reason, when I would disconnect it, it would kind of start drifting forward. I'm going to go out on a limb and say because the connector had stone in it or something, it was throwing off the mass weight or something. I'm not really sure. But basically, short version, it needed lateral thrust to keep it balanced. Now, I didn't do any downward thrusters because it just doesn't need them. I mean, if I hit the C key, it still descends on its own. Though I still wonder if that's a bug or not, but you could argue that it's basically just controlling the dampeners and turning them off, whatever. But we're not getting any damage to the drills or anything. Everything seems to be working fine on this. The one exception is this thing out here. So what we're going to do real quick is, since I have this backed up in case anything goes wrong before I disconnect it, we're going to go ahead and disconnect it. So as you can see, it's not going anywhere, not doing anything, so that's good. Now in here, do we need to, oh, it's not, okay. I thought it would be still considered a station. So, let's go ahead. I haven't messed with any of this stuff yet, so we're just going to do a quick version of just group these together, because this, again, is just kind of testing. It's not really doing anything. And we'll do a toggle. Let's descend. Now, again, I don't think that... Oh, I also put an oxygen or a hydrogen generator in the top there with a few batteries, in case I forgot to mention that. So right about here, we're just going to turn the drills on and see what happens, because I want to see... Oh, now see, that's going to be a problem. I am going to need a gyroscope on it. Dagnabbit. Alright, well that's going to be a problem. See, this is why we test things in creative. Let's just slap a gyroscope on there real quick. Or, there we go. Let's gonna say, can I get it to stand up? Come on. What is the problem? I guess it's the thrust, that I don't have enough thrust in that direction to keep it from tipping over? Well, that's odd. That was not expected. Okay, so I went ahead and added 4 gyroscopes here. 4 has got to be overkill. Pretty sure anyway. Actually, surprisingly not, so that's curious. So that should help us balance things out a little bit. I don't know. It does seem to be aligned with the horizon, so I don't know. I think there's a script that can help keep the alignment or whatever. So there is that idea. I'm also going to try and just do drills here. There we go. What is that? What is that bar? What? Alright, I've been playing this game for a minute. I've never seen that bar, that yellow bar atop the weight limit, or the inventory. What is that? I'm not blind. I have never seen that before. Somebody has to tell me what that is. Could be a drill inventory? Maybe? Like how much inventory they have? But I don't remember that being noted anywhere in any of like the updates for the game or anything, so I have no idea what that actually is for. I'm trying to see maybe if I go a little bit slower, because I think what was happening there in terms of the misalignment was the ground wasn't being destroyed quick enough, and so it was basically hitting the ground, and then that caused us to bounce. So if we go slow enough, I don't think that should be a problem. But I'm already seeing an issue, and that's that the large grid drills really don't have that much of a radius around them as a buffer. And that's going to be an issue for that connector, as well as probably my lateral thrusters here. As you can see, they're about to hit the edge. So that's going to be an issue that we're going to have to fix somehow. I could put the lateral thrusters up on top, off of the ports of the hydrogen generator. Maybe? Let's try that. Okay, so I modified it slightly again. I took the edge off just to kind of ensure that my theory is correct and that if I keep everything aligned properly, that it won't go anywhere. Now the other thing is I didn't actually fit this with PAM script stuff, which wouldn't be too complicated, I don't think. In that I could probably just do... Oh, we need a remote block in the flying direction, right? So I could put something... I could put it like that and just change the background, or the backing, I suppose. I could put a programmable block here. And then I would need a sensor somewhere where it's not going to get destroyed. But it doesn't have to be straight, it just has to be in the flight direction, if my memory serves. Oh yeah, by the way, if you hear any rumbling or anything in the background, we're actually having a storm in my house. So there's that. So that should actually keep it PAM functional, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on the alignment, if it needs to be in the center of the mass or not. Though, I think I could get away with doing a sensor right there. I don't think that will get damaged. Let's find out. So, I think it should be disconnected. Let's go ahead and grab our drills again, because I keep having to reload the save. And I am thinking that's an inventory bar, because basically when I changed the connector, part of the drill inventory went to the connector, and then that bar was just slightly visible again, like it had a little notch out of the edge there that was still blank. So I'm thinking that's what that is, but I'm not 100% sure. So definitely correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking that's an inventory type thing. I'm also going to have to play around with the speed of this because it doesn't really seem like it's cutting through quite as fast as I would have expected. Though, bear in mind I am testing this with them fully loaded. I don't know if perhaps the drills would go a bit faster if they were empty, which is possible, I suppose. So there is that aspect of it. But as you can see, even there, I keep bumping the ground. Even though I'm holding the button, there, you can't really hear it because I have the sneaky tools on or whatever. But it is actually drilling through. It just keeps hanging up. So I guess I'm going to have to set this really slow and make it go like really, really slowly to make it work. Because otherwise it's not really seeming to go very quickly. But I do think that per the way this is designed, as long as there's no issues with the alignment and it actually stays aligned straight, it does seem like it'll work, but I have to make sure that it'll basically fully... I was going to say submerge. I don't think that's the proper term, but I have to make sure that it will fully descend into the ground and not have any issues. I don't think we are. I think we have a solid design. It seems that it's actually going okay. So I think we actually have a functional design at this point. So yeah. And then, oop! I'm scraping. That's not good. I guess I could stop holding the drill. Wait, what happened? What happened? Oh, holy crap, that scared me. For a split second, I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but for a split second, it looked like my drills had been disconnected, and I was, like, leaving the drills down there, which is actually an interesting idea? It's kind of an interesting mechanic of, could you just detach from the drills and come back up and unload? I don't think we're going to pursue it right now. I think we're going to stick with this design, and I'm going to probably work on building it off and on throughout the rest of the I can't talk. The time between this episode and the next episode, I will probably build this off camera in the survival world, but I wanted to actually do some tests and stuff, but I think this is going to work for now. Obviously, it doesn't look all that cool. We don't have any kind of canopy over the top or a shell around it or anything, but part of that is because I'm having to work with what's the word I'm looking for? The perimeter of the drills. Now, as we expand this and add more drills to it, we can add outer, like another block layer, then I could actually build down and have some kind of shell covering it type of thing. But for now, that's not really going to be an option. Plus, when we do that, we could also expand our thrusters, because essentially all we'd have to do is remove like one of these or these two, and then build out with conveyors, and then you could add another thruster on each corner to make a total of, what would that be? 5 on each side? Or 5, and it'd be 10 and then 3 on each side, I think. So, like 16 instead of 12? That was hard math for some reason. I don't think we'll need to change the laterals too much, because they're essentially for course correction in case you get off course kind of thing, if you're out off the directional axis or whatever. But they're not really, like, to move the ship per se, because essentially if everything handles correctly, it should just be going up and down and not doing anything else. So there's that. But I think I'm going to save this as a blueprint, and then off camera, probably before the next episode, hopefully work on trying to build it. Now, I did gather quite a bit of resources to do ion thrusters, because they're far more expensive in my opinion. But it's still going to require quite a bit of resources to actually build, what is this, 12 on the bottom, and then 4, so 16, I think. So that's still going to be quite a bit of material, plus we're going to have to get better at our ice pipeline in order to have enough hydrogen to power this thing, because it's probably going to be using a lot of hydrogen, firing 12 thrusters almost all the time. I imagine that's going to burn up pretty quick. And it does have the hydrogen listed here, like we were at 93% or whatever, but I do wish it would give you a fuel time for hydrogen. It gives you a battery time for power, but it doesn't give you a fuel time for hydrogen, which is a little bit annoying. But anyways, I think that's going to do it for this episode. I know it was mostly planning, but we did get the frame for this area set up in the survival world, and so I think we're just going to work on building the drills and stuff here. Hopefully I can get it all done before the next episode and we can actually test it out. I don't know how the PAM script is going to function with it because of the way that it's designed of going down. Although I suppose, let me know in the comments. Again, I won't see this until probably the next episode, but it would be good to know anyway in case I don't get it fully completed or we're not automating it yet. But for those of you that are more familiar with the PAM script, let me know if I should orient it to where it's flying towards the moon, like this is its flight direction. Let me know if that would be more beneficial to me for the PAM script, if it would function better. I don't think it will because of the connection ports and stuff, that if I have it set up this way, I think it'll be able to fly straight down. But if I turn the flight direction, I have a feeling it's going to try and spin the ship around and do wonky stuff. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. But with that, we're going to wrap things up here. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace.